Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back to work on our Panigale V2 Bayless Akra full titanium exhaust system. It was a bit of a nightmare on the first video. If you didn't see it, we ran into some issues with the heat shielding. The clamp actually basically doesn't fit correctly. We had to do some fabrication with the heat shielding. We actually thought we might have to send the whole exhaust back. Luckily Dado was able to make it work. But yeah, that's where we're at. We didn't get nearly as much done as we wanted to. The bike is still completely torn apart. But today we're gonna be trying to make some more progress. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, first order of business is some whiskey because the exhaust has not been cooperating with us. I think it's almost been worse than the V4 exhaust.
Really?
Yeah, dude, it's been a nightmare. And like the whole subframe's off. We gotta try and get that all back on. Even like the filter on the V4, you can actually pop it in and out right here. On this, you have to go all the way into the intake, which is basically right by the cylinder heads. It's just, yeah, it's a nightmare. But after we get all this done, it should be smooth sailing from here on out. So yeah, we're gonna smoke some whiskey. You can get these, they're great Christmas presents for the men in your life. DadoMadeShop.com, it's always linked in the description below. And it actually is super cool for parties and stuff too. We use them all the time at my house.
I'm actually getting a lot of orders. So if you guys, I'm running a discount right now and it's automatic. So anything on my website, doesn't matter the cost, you get 10% off up until the day before Christmas. So go check it out.
That's awesome. I wouldn't wait until the day before though if you want to actually get it on Christmas.
That's right.
Look at that. All right, so we're gonna smoke some whiskey, have some drinks, and then we'll get to work. All right, first thing we want to do is we want to clear out all these stock parts, but we actually do need this front bracket for the new mufflers. So we're gonna take this off. In order to do that, we have to take the whole, like half this thing apart.
I actually have to take the pipe off.
Which is super annoying. Yeah, I remember that was stripped or something.
It's a 10.
Yeah. So, and then I think we need this metal part here. So we got to get this out of this. So that gets reused, but then it has a carbon fiber top piece on it. And then I think this is just donezo. So yeah, starting with this, and then I think we'll probably move on to the rear subframe, which is going to be quite a bit of work. Okay, so we were looking at the directions, and it turns out we don't use any of this. The metal heat guard and the plastic heat shield all gets reused and replaced by just that carbon fiber piece right here, and they put the heat shielding underneath. So that right there, just that is probably like 3 or 4 pounds of weight savings, which is really nice. Now, this is gonna sit something like this on the rear subframe. So I grabbed the rear subframe and we're gonna start putting this together. This is where we stopped last time, and this is where we are now. So we're not using the rear pegs, so we're using this one right here. Get this all on, and then we can put this back on the bike? Is that what we need to do?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
This is back.
Okay, so he's fitting the big old bolts in there. He's Loctiting everything. And you really couldn't do this unless this was off the bike. So you actually do have to completely remove the rear subframe to do this exhaust install, which is pretty crazy. So 4 bolts are going in, and then we'll tighten those down, and then I think we're gonna actually try and put the mufflers on because we left some of the bolts, well, all the header bolts we left just loosely tightened, so that we have a little bit of wiggle in this. You can't really tell it, but we do, like on these, like that right there. But I think I just pulled these out. Such beautiful exhaust, look at that. It's crazy how big these mufflers are compared to the V4 mufflers that are like the little, like MotoGP cans now, but this has to fill up like this whole area down here, so it's a completely different setup. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so I think the next part we're gonna try and put the mufflers on. So we just put the stock bracket back on, that guy right there, and then we tightened down the front manifold bolts, and now we're trying to tighten down the what is this? Clamp bolt. And this is the one where we had to actually replace the clamp bolt because the other one wasn't even long enough to go through. So he also put the thread sealant on there that they sent along, so it was kind of having some issues tightening it down. So he went ahead and cleaned it, backed it out, cleaned it. It's just stuff like this that takes time and you really don't want to screw up.
Good to go now.
Once that gets tightened, yeah, now it's going.
It takes one little crud.
It's crazy, dude. Yeah, it literally wouldn't go.
And I was like yanking on it, the whole clamp was bending. So when you're doing this stuff, you just got to be patient. And if you need to back it out and clean threads or whatever it is, do it
Better than
because
breaking it and then
or it strips in there and you got to cut it out.
Totally
I told Jared, I'm like, if we got to replace the whole clamp because the threaded part's in here, we got to disassemble and take the whole exhaust down.
Yep. So we're getting stuff tightened down, and then I think after this, are we gonna be ready to put these on, Dotto?
Yeah.
These guys?
Yep.
Sweet.
We'll leave the subframe for last.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're actually ready to fit the mufflers. So he's putting some of the anti-seize inside of that right there, just a thin little coating. And then we can try and fit this puppy on there. We'll see what happens. We got the fan shroud back up and installed. We're gonna leave these out because I think next episode we're gonna do filter and front radiator guards. So just in case we need some space up there, we're gonna leave those out. Try to be smart about the whole process. And even this we were looking at for the clear clutch cover. There's bolts behind this right here, which means all this is gonna have to get taken off, which means if the bike was put back together, we'd have to take all the fairings off again. So I think we're gonna do that before we put it all back together too. So
these guys right here get reused. They're from the factory exhaust. They're little bushing mounts with bushings in it for the exhaust.
we love bushings.
So essentially this sits here and then this part gets bolted on all the way up in here. Up in there,
yeah, up in there, yeah.
with these bolts.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put Loctite on everything, and
then it hangs off
they gave
that
us
front.
new nuts for the front, right here. 'Cause
Okay.
I think the other ones are smaller.
Yeah.
So let's work on that.
Okay. Look at that, guys. Your first little look at the muffler and the pipes. That looks incredible. It's a bitch to get on though. So he's fitting the other side right now. Basically you have to slide it into this pipe first, back here.
Yeah, good
And he's
luck.
got a bunch of stuff to, yeah, it's no joke. And then the last thing you do is slide this into the front there. Oh, that one went on a lot better, I
Not
guess,
too bad.
because you knew what you were doing this time, huh? There you go.
Well,
Does this one line up?
No.
It doesn't.
The bolt holes up here don't line up on either side.
Yeah, I can show them on the other side.
Yeah.
So we're talking about these bolt holes right in there. See if I can show you. There, you can see how off they are. Look at that. So are you gonna tighten the manifold bolts up top first, Dotto?
Yeah, the manifold needs to sit completely flush against the cylinder head so we don't get leaks.
Yeah, so we'll tighten these down first.
And then once those are torqued down,
Then we're gonna have to hold it up and then
we're
push a
gonna
bolt
have to,
through.
like, put a pry bar in there and break everything.
Look at that though. Dude, it looks so dope. That makes me very happy. All right, good news, folks. Look at that. That bolt up there, you can't really see it on camera, but it lines up now perfectly. What was going on was this basically needed to be rotated a little bit on this joint here. We had it too far this way, and then that wouldn't go all the way up in correctly. So we rotated it, boom, everything slid up in. If you're doing this exhaust, those are two things to keep a lookout on. This thing right here, making sure that's at the correct angle, and then dealing with the shit fest of the heat shielding up front. Now, everything else should be smooth sailing, hopefully. But he's gonna hook up the springs on the backside there, and then we can put the bolts in, and then we can start to work on the subframe. All right, time to put the rear subframe on with the new carbon heat shield. He might need a second hand here, but we'll see. So he's gotta slide that in. Where does this go?
I think that stays.
Okay, just move it out of the way.
Yeah, we tried putting it into the little cavity over here, but it doesn't clear well.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think it's on your side.
Yep, that's it, right there.
Right there, so that's how it sits.
So it sits like that?
Yep, and
Look
the
at that.
harness goes right through here.
That looks so good. I love that carbon fiber. And look at this bad boy down here. The underbelly, Dotto just said too, favorite exhaust setup, right? For any bike.
It just looks
It
proper.
looks incredible.
It completes all the lines on this. You know what I really like on this?
What?
Look
Yeah,
at this.
I know. The angles.
Yeah, that section and how nice and slim that
man,
is.
It looks badass.
Yeah.
And this up down here. Look at that. I can't wait to start it up. But hopefully in the next episode we'll be able to do the filter, the tank, and then we can start it. And then maybe we'll save the radiator guards for another video because I want to get this thing started and I want people to hear it because it's one of my favorite sounding bikes of all time. So we're going to throw some bolts in this and then that's probably a good place to stop for today. We got quite a bit done and it's starting to look like a bike again. Alright, so I think that's where we're going to call it for today. Got the mufflers on, we got a bunch of parts installed. We got this all tightened down, the subframe's on, the heat shield's on, and basically now, next episode we'll probably work on getting the subframe all put back together, running all the wiring, getting all the side pieces on, and then we can put the sprint filter in, and then put the gas tank back on, and then we can actually start the bike. So I'm super excited for that. The carbon wheels arrived as well for Moto Million, so I'm very excited to do those in the future. And that's it. So don't forget, guys, you can help support this project, be entered to win this bike. Patreon.com/Campisi Custom. It's always the first link in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big old juicy thumbs up, subscribe for more, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace.